Hello YouTubers, my name is Attila Mate from Blue Sky Photography, and today I would like to talk to you about a lens which one I purchased with my Fuji XT-20. Like probably you know, I purchased the Fuji XT-20 1 month ago, a little bit more than a month ago, when I was going on a holiday, and I was thinking a lot what kind of lens should I purchase, you know, with the camera. I have a few manual lenses, so primes, and I can use those lenses with adapter on the camera, but I wanted two zooms, which one were actually autofocus zooms, and I can use them in any situation. So today I will speak about the longer zoom, which is the 55 to 200. Now, this is a variable zoom lens. It is a 55 to 200 f3.5 to 4.8 lens. I have to tell you that at the beginning I was a little bit concerned because it's on 200mm is 4.8. But this is actually the lens extends when you are zooming. You see, this is how long is when it's fully zoomed out to 200mm. Now, the filter, the front of the lens will not turn, so you can use graduating filters, you know, graduated filters on it. It will not turn. But I tell you, I was positively surprised. Now, like I said, I was a little bit concerned because it is 4.8, you know, and 3.5 at the 55mm and 4.8 on 200mm, and if I turn the lens on and I will zoom in, I can see that it's changing. The example at 100mm is f4. Let's see from the beginning. So it's 3.5 from 55mm. At 70mm is 3.6. At 100mm is 4. 135 is 4.4, and 200 is 4.8 roughly. So why did I purchase this lens? I purchased this lens because I use my cameras for my son's rugby matches, and I shoot some sports, and I needed the 300mm reach, and that's why I decided to buy this lens. Now, this lens has optical image stabilization. It's on the side over here. It's a switch. You can switch it on and off, and then there is a switch for the aperture, where you can switch to automatic, and then if you switch to automatic, the camera will set the aperture automatically, or you can switch to manual mode, and then there is an aperture ring over here, and then you can just turn the aperture ring and set the aperture manually. I like the aperture ring, and I use the aperture ring all the time. Now let's talk a little bit about the most important thing about this lens, and that is the image quality. I'm a portrait and wedding photographer, and I was thinking that this lens will be good for me only for wedding, only for sports. I said, I don't see myself using this lens for portraits. Well, lads, I have to tell you, I was wrong, and I will show you some photos on the screen, so you can see what I'm talking about. I mean, this lens has such an interesting bokeh that is unbelievable. I like it. I like very, very much. Now, the truth is that you have to know, and you have to set up your shot according to the lens. So you know that your lens is not fast aperture. It's not like 1.8 or 2.8. So you have to you set up your shot in such a way that the background will be further down, you know, from the subject, not as close. And you have to do some arrangements before you take the shot, but I have to tell you that this lens is capable, that I am very 100% positive that I can use this lens for a portrait photo shoot, no problem. I will have to change some things. I cannot shoot with this lens like I shoot with my Sigma 50 to 100 f1.8, because obviously that's a 1.8 lens, and that's normal. But in the same time, it is possible to be done. And again, the aperture is not so fast. It's 4.8, but it's 200mm, and 200mm you can compensate a little bit with the zoom. I will put some pictures up here and I will show you what I'm talking about, and you will see that the image quality of this lens and the bokeh is just brilliant. I don't say, like I said before, I don't say that it's like a Sigma 50-100 or a Tamron 70-200 f2.8. It's not like that, but you can achieve kind of the same thing if you set up your shot differently. I will make a video where we compared this lens with the Sigma 50-100 f1.8, and I did some shots and how can I achieve the same kind of bokeh, you know, with this lens like with the Sigma 50-100. And I will show you in that video everything in detail how I did. So if you want to see, please like and subscribe, and you will see that video then. I will upload in a few days time, in a week time maybe. So the second most important thing about this lens is the image quality. Again, you will see in that video where I will compare this lens with the Sigma 50-100. We all know that the Sigma 50-100 is one of the sharpest lenses on the face of the earth. Now this lens is on par with that. I was actually so surprised that I didn't want to believe, I tell you. I didn't want to believe when I saw the shots, you know, how sharp they are. I mean, when I compared with my shots with Nikon D70-200 and Sigma 50-100, this combination is killer in regards sharpness. Now, the contrast and the colors and the sharpness on this lens, it is even better. The contrast and the colors are even better than on the Sigma. The Sigma shots, they have a little bit cooler, I would say, cooler effect on the photos. And these lenses, the Fuji lenses, they have a little bit of warmer effect on the photos. I like that. That's not a big issue because you can change that anytime in post-processing, you know, that's not a big problem. But straight out of the camera, I like the colors much better with this lens than with the Sigma lens. But like I said, the Sigma for me is still the best lens what I can use for wedding example. But this lens, it's 100% capable, and it is over there. It's side by side with the Sigma, and I will show you in that video when I compare the two lenses that you can't see the difference between the two shots. You can't see the difference. Okay, the image stabilization on this lens, it is actually in the lens. It's not, the Fuji doesn't have in-body image stabilization, so the lens is stabilized. But it is great. It works like a charm, I tell you. I don't really use too many times image stabilization because I have moving subjects, so image stabilization is useless for me. But when I do, I did try, and it works like a charm. It's very, very nice. Now, I think, in my opinion, that if you want a zoom, which is pretty long, because it's 200mm is long enough, and 55mm is a pretty good range. It's like 80mm. So this lens actually will act like 80mm to 300mm on a full frame. And that is a good range, I would say. So if you want a longer zoom, this is the way to go. I would suggest 100% for every Fuji user, this lens. This lens, it's only 700 euro, something like that, 700 or 600. You can find even 650 euro on eBay if you want, or used you can find even cheaper. But I tell you, it's brilliant. Image quality wise, image stabilization, it is brilliant. Now, there is something what I don't like in this lens, and that is because the lens extends. When I keep the camera just like that, and I will walk, the lens will extend, you see? So, what I did, I just extended myself the lens and I left like that, you know, and I was walking like that because I had the camera on my side, on my here on my side, and the lens slowly will extend. Fuji, if you are watching this video, Tamron has a nice little switch over here on the side, Tamron lenses, and you can just lock the lens, and that would be a great idea to this lens as well. So you can be you are able to lock the lens, and the lens will not extend by itself. I know obviously this is not a professional lens, I would say. It's a variable aperture lens, but still, it is a great lens. And I would say Fuji lenses usually they are very, very good quality, build quality and image quality, even if they are variable aperture. So the only disadvantage you will have is that the aperture is not so fast. Image quality wise, you don't really lose anything with Fuji lenses. Okay, so that's all I can say. I have to tell you that this is one of my favorite lenses for the moment, you know, because it's light, it's small. It's actually, when I take off the lens hood, look how small it is. I mean, it is ridiculously small, you know, and it's a 200mm lens. Yes, it is obviously it is 3.5 to 4.8. It's not very, very fast, but in the same time, for the things I used, you know, and also for portraits, I will show some sample images, and you will see yourself what I'm talking about. So if you have any question in regards to this lens, please feel free and leave a comment down below. If you want to add something to this video, you think I forgot something, feel free and leave a comment down below. And other than that, I wish you a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.